put it on there. So you guys got a link in my Facebook, for crying out loud. So business professional is kind of like a suit. Business casual is slacks and like a collared shirt. Make sense? So what do you wear to the interview? I always suggest dress professionally. Use your common sense, but it never hurts. You can't go wrong by being overdressed for an interview, right? It's awkward to go like to a party overdressed. You know, if everyone is in jeans and you're in like this party dress, you know, this formal Civil War ball gown, that is awkward.
Especially if we're wearing it.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. Never hurts to dress professional. If at this age you don't own a sport coat, gentlemen, put on a tie. At least look nice, right? It never hurts to dress professionally for an interview. Mike, I hate to do this at the last second. Would you get one of those portfolios in the black leather binder? Never mind.
Oh, dang. I got you, bro.
So number 4, I highly recommend having a portfolio. And I recommend to all of you. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Make sure nothing falls out.
They cost like $25. 60.
Yeah, actually, I think they're a little bit more than $25.
What? So gang, I recommend, I bought mine like 25, 30 years ago. I still use it for interview. Obviously, it wouldn't last if I was using it every day, but I use it for interviews. Get black leather, have a writing pad in it, right? And then this pocket, you can have, I put manila folders in there, and I'll have a folder for resumes, for references. I like to bring samples of work, and you can have all that in here. The big thing, and we're going to talk about it here in a second, is bring, I'll just tell you, because we're going to get to it in a bullet point or two. Bring extra resumes. Oftentimes, somebody will set up the interview. So, Rick, you're meeting with Dan at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. Do you have our address? Yes, thank you. And then you get there, and 2 other people walk in with Dan. You know, Dan's like, hey, nice to meet you. You know, I brought my 2 fellow managers. And then what happens is, if you don't have extra resumes on you, this is what happens. It's, what are some of those videos on the goats falling down or whatever? You know what I'm talking about on YouTube?
Yes.
What's that?
Fainting goats.
Fainting goats, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the fainting goats videos. It's just the circus breaks out. So they come in, well, you have a resume for yourself and for, what was the guy's name, Dan? And then the 2 other, and then they're trying to be helpful. Well, we'll go make copies. And then they go in, oh, the copier broke, and all of a sudden, it is fainting goats. So the point is, bring multiple resumes in your portfolio, and then it's just so cool. You're just like, oh, hey, thanks for taking the time to meet with me. It's great to meet all of you at once, and you just pull out your resumes and you're good to go. Okay, that pad of paper in the binder, it's okay for you to write things down on there. I didn't realize this for a couple of decades. I was slower. You're not memorizing stuff for a test. It's okay to put notes on that pad. Things you want to remember, your 3 unique things or questions you have, that's okay to do. Bring a copy of references. We talked about references last month. Just have that in your portfolio. If they ask for it, say, you know, as a matter of fact, I brought it with me. And then what do you look like? What are some of the attributes that you look like? Professional, what else? Prepared, right? Proactive, right? Okay, you ready for this? There is a good time to arrive. So when you're meeting with somebody, interviewing is not in anybody's like job responsibilities, like as far as time, like you don't have like interviewing time, right, David? It is like extra work. So basically, if you're interviewing, you're probably working late that night. I mean, it's just, that's how it goes. So sometimes people they'll leave early, so they won't be late, and they'll be so excited they made it there, and they just so happen they got there 45 minutes early, which is, awesome, and they come and they check in. Well, nobody's ready for you at 45 minutes early, because everyone's working still, right? They don't have time to meet with you in 45 minutes, let alone early. So you don't do yourself a favor. What either has to happen is you throw somebody out of their schedule. They have to, instead of doing what they thought they were going to be doing during that time, they have to pause and go meet with you. Or you're sitting in the waiting area, which many companies don't even have waiting areas. So you're sitting in some awkward place, right? Over by security or something, right? So they can keep an eye on you for 45 minutes. So by the time it's time for the interview, where are you emotionally? You're like, right, you're stressed out because you've been sitting next to the security guard up front, and you've been there long enough, you know how to check in people at this point, you're watching the security guard. So here's the deal, get there 15 minutes early, so you're not late. Sit in your car for about 5 minutes. Why 15 minutes early? If there's a car crash or whatever. I oftentimes will get there a lot earlier. I'll be in the area, I'll go sit at McDonald's or something for a little while. Get there 15 minutes early, sit in the car for about 5 minutes, and then go in and find the bathroom and check yourself out, right? Nothing in your teeth, nothing in your nose, your zipper's up, right? Your tie is right, just all the basics. Take your time, check out all that. Here's a little, all your buttons buttoned. Here's a little secret. Typically, it's nerve-wracking to interview, and your palms get sweaty, right? Have you ever shaken anybody's hand that's it's pretty nasty, right? So here's a little secret. There's an old-fashioned product from David Alabato's day called witch hazel.
Like itches though,
yeah.
right?
What's that?
It's like itches though, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's a cleaner, technically. Antiseptic cleaner. Put some witch hazel on your hands, it'll dry your hands off.
Come on, we're in Colorado. It's like
True.
3% humidity.
Our tongues stick to the roof of our mouth.
Use acetone, that dries quick. Oh gosh.
And then check in 10 minutes early. 10 minutes is acceptable. It shows that you're prompt. You can be on time. And it's not unusual. 10 minutes. Okay. How we doing so far? Doing all right? Are we to the point you want to share your story yet?
Sure, I'll share one.
Okay.
Well, just on two, I'll share. The one I went to Seattle, Philadelphia for an interview, and it said 5, and I thought it was 5 a.m. It was 5 p.m. I came 12 hours early. 12 hours early. 12 hours early. I was there at 5, well, maybe before production. So make sure you check if it's AM or PM. But that's a whole other story. So,
because a lot of interviews actually happen at 5 a.m.
Yeah, so I was there, and where's everybody, And I'd come back at 5. Anyway, that was another story. So this one was an interview, and I'm sure you're going to touch on it. When you go and you're going to practice, be yourself and be honest. So my interview, my most memorable interview was when I went to the Sheriff's Academy, and I was interviewing to be a deputy sheriff in Los Angeles County. So I went in there, and there were 4 people in there, and they started the interview, and they said, and I said, the niceties. And the very first question they asked is, do you think everyone should be treated fairly in law enforcement? And I said, absolutely, you betcha. I'm like, I got that one now. And then they go to the next question, and they ask a series of questions, and then about 45 minutes into it, they said, here's a scenario question. You're stopped at a light, and someone blows through the stoplight, and you put your siren on, you pull them over, and you find out your mother. And what would you do? And I'd say, hey, Mom, I first stopped her, I said, where's the fire? Where are you going? And they start laughing, just like Rick did. They start laughing. And I go, man, I just said, you got to slow down. You're going to make them look bad. And they go, that's all you do? I said, yeah. And they go, you wouldn't write her a ticket? And I said, well, no. And they said, okay. They kept writing, And I said, I should have said I'd write her a ticket, And then they came back and said, remember when we told you at the beginning of the interview, you said everyone should be treated fairly in law enforcement? I go, yeah. And they go, well, your mother? And I go, everyone but my mother. I go, and my father. I threw that in there. And I was just being honest. I don't remember a ticket. And I thought, I'm out of this interview. I'm not going to make, I'm contradicting myself. I'm not going to give him a ticket. I'm supposed to be in law enforcement. So bottom line, I passed the interview, they came out and I got a 98 on my, because they grade it right there. You just sit in the hall and they come out and they give you your things that you passed or you didn't, you know. And I got a 98 on the oral exam, the interview process. And then the guy said, oh, by the way, you make great sandwiches. So apparently, you know, we were about 45 minutes from LA and we had a delicatessen in California, and he had been to the restaurant or the deli that we own, and I made him a sandwich before one of the interviews. Right? So no matter where you are, all the time, you know, do the right things when you're at work, because you never know when that, you know, what if I was a real jerk to this guy making a sandwich, or I made a crummy sandwich, I didn't do a good, you know, if you work for the Lord, you make a good sandwich, you make it on time, you make it good. So I must have pleased him, you know, because he had a great sandwich, and I went, oh man, I waited on that guy, you know, and plus I was myself. I said I wouldn't give my mom a ticket, you know, granted I contradicted myself. So be yourself, be honest, and you'll be fine, you know, and all the other things, the good information that Rick's given you, but honesty and be yourself is the big thing I think you need to do.
That's good.
Can you write a smaller ticket?
A small one? No, she would have got a big fat ticket for that.
Mr. Alvado's story about his mom, you know, where's the fire reminded me of a joke. Guy gets pulled over for speeding, you know, going on the highway across the desert, and the police officer says, why are you going so fast? He says, I'm keeping up with traffic. The police officer says, there is no traffic. And the guy says, yeah, that's how far behind I am. Yes, Landon.
My dad was telling me today, if you're feeling nervous in an interview, be honest about it. Don't just...
Ooh, I like that.
Don't just try and fake it.
Yeah.
And he also said just talk. Don't talk too much, but just talk and make conversation, and don't be nervous.
That's
try
good.
not to be nervous.
You know, and that is excellent advice. So we made it there 15 minutes early. We checked our teeth, all that. We're sitting in the waiting area. The interviewer, the manager comes up. So here's some basics. And the reason I have it in here, gang, is a lot of your competition doesn't do this. And remember, every job is competition, right? There's more people than there are jobs. So here's one of the secrets. When the manager comes out, you're sitting in the chair, you stand up, you shake their hands, say, it's nice to meet you, Dan. My name is Rick. Thank you for taking time to see me. Right? Just like basic manners, right? Just like greeting somebody. But that's how you do it. You stand to your feet, you shake their hand, you look them in the eye, say your name, because remember, you have thought about this interview nonstop for the last 2 weeks. The other manager hasn't. And maybe hasn't even looked at your resume. Just HR said, I have 3 people coming in for you to talk to today. So just realize, it's been your whole life the last few days prepping for this thing. But for them, they may not even know your name. So just be polite. Stand up, shake their hand, look them in the eye, say, hi Dan, my name is Rick. Thanks for taking time to see me. Okay. All right, number 7. The interview is a time for you to show that you're the solution to the employer's problem, right? We learned earlier that employers don't hire you because you need a job. They hire you because they need help with something. They need a truck unloaded. They need chicken fixed, or whatever you do to chicken. The employer is the buyer. You're the product. Gang, I tell you, it happens all the time. People come in and the interviewer will say, why do you want to work here? And they'll give all the reasons why they want to get out of it. The one with the money, how does that go? The one with the money makes the rules. The employer is the buyer, you are the product. If we were to go into a cell phone store and say, why should I buy this phone instead of this phone? And they're like, because I get a higher commission and I get more points towards, this free day off we get. And you'd be like, what are you talking about? You want to know how this phone solves your problems, right? Or your needs. And most people do that. You can have such a competitive advantage. If you go in there and somebody says, why do you want to work here? You say, you know, I really want to help, you know, Target. I was gonna be funny and say, I've always wanted to unload trucks, but that doesn't help. You know, you say, hey, I want to be part of a team. You know, we shop at Target a lot. You know, Target offers some, you know, great products and services that help people, and I just want to be part of that. And you know, I can't do your accounting right now. I'm not smart enough, but I can unload your trucks, and I'll do it real well for you. You know, I bet you get hired on the spot. Bam, right? All right. Every response, because you're going to get asked questions in the interview, every response should be how you add value to the employer, right? All that work, the first half hour, 45 minutes of this class, was, you know, getting into the hiring manager's head and understanding why they hire. So everything you're saying back to them is how you add value to the employer. And one of the ways you add value, just don't forget, one of the ways you add value is being funny and being fun to spend 8 hours with and stuff.